Institutions are loading up on this crypto dip more than they literally have ever. What do they know that you don't? Why are the prices not reflecting this? Well, today, guys, we're going to find out. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why all the big whales, the smart money, have been loading up massively. All right, guys, so let's get into this. And we're going to go over here and look at the Bitcoin chart. Now, as you can see here on the 4-hour chart, we effectively have broken down past this resistance zone, which was just shy below $60,000. And now the bulls and bears are kind of fighting for this price. We're waiting over here on the weekly to see if this thing flips from support to resistance. We don't know yet. We'll find out by the end of the week. As you can see, it has been, though, touching this, what was previously support, now seems to be acting as resistance. But do we really care at the end of the day? Well, as you can see over here, we had an extremely strong week, extremely strong. We had on the 5th, we had the day off on Monday the 4th. Was it Monday the 4th? Whatever the 4th was. But anyway, in the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days, massive inflows, 143 million, 295 million, 216 million, 147 million. And as you can see, BlackRock still hasn't continued to have a net outflow. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is we can look over here. As you can see, Grayscale has actually had 18,661 Bitcoin outflows, while BlackRock has at 18,104. It kind of just feels like BlackRock has been buying the outflows from Grayscale. At least they've made it neutral, more or less. And you can see that the other ones like Fidelity and BitB and ARC shares, all the other ones have kind of been adding for the net inflows of 15,500 Bitcoin so far. And this is what I talked about in the intro, guys, over here. And if this doesn't make you bullish, I don't know what will. This is the accumulation of large wallet holders, anyone holding between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin. And you can see it's just been skyrocketing, absolutely skyrocketing. And these are the people who have at least 1,000 Bitcoin in their wallet, loading up in mass right now. So this is what you really need to pay attention to, because it shows you. And these are, if you have 1,000 Bitcoin right now, you're probably not dumb. You probably know what's going on. You probably understand how to play. You've probably made a lot of money in your life. And we want to watch what they're doing. If you find these videos valuable, if they keep you bullish when everything else seems bearish, let's do us all a favor. Destroy that like button. Share this video with your friends who might be bearish and dragging you down. Do me a favor. If you do one thing, is hit that notification button so you get these videos as soon as I release them. Very important, as this is often time sensitive. JP Morgan, which is once a massive critic, is now bull, saying that in August, so in a couple of weeks, guys, we're going to see massive, well, I don't know if it's a massive, but the market will rebound. They're expecting us to break north in mid-August to the end of August is when I think we start to see upward movement. So until then, relax, enjoy the ride. Let's look at the government of Germany is almost done with their hemorrhaging. I don't feel bad for them. They're just dumb. How are they going to feel when they realize that Bitcoin is $1 million, $10 million in the future? And they at one point had 50,000 Bitcoin, and now they're almost down to, they're going to be down to nothing here pretty soon. Big, big mistake, if you ask me. And Jamie over here says, while painful in the short term, the distributions of the Mt. Gox Reserve and government sales remove the annoying supply overhang, helping distribute coins to a wider array of holders, thereby growing the network and leaving Bitcoin even better off than before. And that's right, guys. Let's turn Bitcoin and crypto into a PPP environment. Let's go tell our friends and family, share this video with them if they are worried and don't have Bitcoin yet, because this Bitcoin that's getting sold off by the German government, and anyone from Mt. Gox who receives their Bitcoin decides to sell them, hopefully the people that you care about, your loved ones, will be buying their Bitcoin off them, get broader distribution. It's a very healthy thing for the market. And as Crypto Lark says over here, Bitcoin is up 356% since the cycle lows. Price performance of Bitcoin is identical to the last two cycles, 351% and 361% at this point. Looks like we're right on track for the previous two cycles. This is what I've been saying for a long time. And as you can see, this black line here is this cycle, and the 2015 cycle to 2018, which was a 2017 bull run, is this blue line, and this green line is the 2021 cycle. And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, here. Lots of reason to be bullish on the markets ahead. Now, Trader XO, good guy, says if you zoom out, You have to see what the 60,000, the true battle of the bulls and bears sits in this gray line here, which is the $60,000 mark. Like I said in the intro, fighting for that range. And big bullish news. Donald Trump, potentially our future president of the United States, love him or hate him, bullish for our industry, bullish for our wallets, bullish for our bags, is going to be speaking at Bitcoin Nashville coming up here in July 25th to 27th in about 13 days, 2 weeks. Very bullish for the industry. People are basically complaining about things, and GCR, one of the best traders of all times, says traders will often reach out to me inquiring as to why crypto is showing relative strength or weakness relative to equities. I will usually tell them to wait a bit before drawing conclusions. More often than not, we are simply witnessing a laggard effect, meaning because the equities markets have been ripping on fire. And as we start to see, if you guys watch the videos on a regular basis, I hope that you do, you will know that we are coming into a liquidity opportunity here where liquidity will become more abundant, which is reason to take advantage of this bubble that we're going to be entering into with the S&P, the equities markets, stock markets have been on fire lately. And so people asking, well, why is crypto not doing as well as I thought they were correlated? It's probably just a lagging effect. We know that this is cyclical. We know the 4-year cycle is right on track, and we're following that. Now, we had news earlier today about the inflation CPI, or yesterday, depending on where you're watching this. And as you can see, that was bullish. So we started the day off bullish, right? And as you can see over here, if we go into the 1-hour chart, you can see here, this is the beginning of the day over here. We got the news for CPI. Came in below expectation, which is a very great thing, which means that probably sooner than later, we're going to expect to see the Fed feel more comfortable with the idea of lowering interest rates. We're going to get cuts coming up. Of course, when interest is cheaper, it's costs less to borrow money, and we can expect to see that in the interest rates coming down, which is always extremely bullish for our industry. The last 2 reports in a row have come in below the forecasted amount. As you can see, this recent one was forecasted to be 3.1%. It came in at 3%. Very good news. However, you saw the sell-off in the second half of the day. Again, that's the German government selling off. This overhang is almost done. It could potentially be the Mt. Gox recipients as well. We don't know yet. We don't have that data. But as the Kobolesi letter says over here, we need to look at the possibility of the rate cuts coming by September. And right now, the rate cuts are 83%, pretty much almost what the odds are of Biden dropping out of the race by now. But very high likelihood we get to see these rate cuts in September. And this is all lining up for what I've been talking about, guys. Bullish September, really start to pick up by October. By Q4, the markets, in my opinion, in crypto are ripping. So how are you guys positioning yourself? Let me know in the comments below. And Paxos, the SEC is just capitulating. So Paxos, my friend Rich actually founded Paxos, and they got a letter from both BUSD and Paxos saying, our bad, you guys can continue to operate. They did destroy the market cap of BUSD. The question is, will BUSD come back? I don't know, but it's another win for crypto at the end of the day. And as we've been talking about as well, the best things are getting cleared out right now. Yep, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Yep, it's not ideal that we have all of this overhang, but we do, and it's getting dealt with. The Mt. Gox situation and the German government, once that's out of the way, remember, we have the FTX thing coming in soon, and we have all kinds of reason to be bullish. The ETF inflows continue to pump. Ethereum ETF coming up, of course, that's going to be a little overhang for grayscale selling, but we don't really know what that effect is going to feel like yet. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. So Ignis says the best thing you can do is not to interact with crypto and the rest for the next couple of days. Our decentralization is just a theater. Can DeFi really hold up against state attacks? We need to do better. And he's referring to this attack that happened earlier, guys, which is essentially a DNS attack that happened on SquareSpace. It affected a lot of different crypto front ends. This entire list right here was affected by this domain attack because it was Squarespace. So what we need to do is start looking at other things like decentralized domain hosting so we don't have these kind of effects that are really affecting our market in a negative way. This list, I shall put it in the description below. Make sure that you check it, and until you get clearance and from all of these protocols on their X account, and make sure that you do not interact with any of these protocols until this is cleared up. And these are the major ones that you might be interacting with right now: Pendle, Karak, Compound, Hyperliquid, DYDX, Thorchain, Axelar, Vertex Protocol, Hop, Polymarket, and YieldYak. Just go to their X accounts and make sure that it's clear to use them before you start using them again. In the meantime, do not connect your Web3 wallet. Do not do anything until the coast is clear. Now, it might be by the time you watch this anyway, so go find out and check, which leads me to the next section. It is always a good idea to make sure that you're using something like Nord to protect yourself. You're in crypto. There's all kinds of bad actors. They all want to attack you. They all want to take your money, and make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you leave yourself vulnerable and go think, man, I could have protected myself. This is literally almost free for the protection that you get. There's all kinds of things. There's threat protection. It could tell you about bad actors or bad domains that you go to that have been compromised. Guys, if you use the link in the description below for NordVPN, you get this thing for almost nothing. It's like literally like $3 a month or something. It's such a good deal. I love Nord. I use it all the time. As ILO says over here, many alts have bottomed and a lot of buyers are going to be rewarded later in the year. This time won't be different. This shows you a chart essentially of how many altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. And as you can see right now, there's only 7%. Have alts bottomed? Maybe. Maybe they have a little bit more to go, but pretty much, as you can see, when they get this low on this chart over here, they are pretty close to the bottom. Now, could they come lower like this over here? Yeah, possibly. But are you at a pretty good place from a risk to reward perspective? I think so. So this might be a good time to start considering coming back into alts if you're not already fully into the market. For me, I'm pretty much fully into it. So all I can do is a little bit of trading here and there on the things that I'm more bullish in coming into. And of course, on this channel, if you have the notifications turned on, you will get those as soon as I make those moves. If you're interested, of course, none of this is financial advice. As Silver Ape says over here, there are two good ways to accumulate alts during a phase like this. Buy high conviction, fundamentally strong gems, things like Pepe Coin, things like Paid Network, things like Commonwealth, that I'm really bullish on. And of course, I'm making other videos to tell you guys the ones that I have high conviction on. And if I have extremely high conviction, I will let you know that. We will get into some of them again as the week goes on. And Tom Dunleavy, I suggest that you follow him if you're not already at Dunleavy8. Very smart guy. Used to be a research analyst at Mazzari, now runs up our fund over at MV Global, MV Capital. He basically gave a really good thread earlier of where we are in the market, but the TLDR is that you're not bullish enough. This is a really good thread. I suggest you go follow him and read it. He made it earlier, depending on when you watch it. But a couple things to notice here is that there's something called MVRV, which essentially shows you when something is overbought or oversold. And right now, it clearly shows that Bitcoin is so oversold. That's a really good time to be taking advantage and getting into the market when something is oversold. Of course, we've talked about global liquidity coming up, and he references some other charts that we did earlier in the show, like this one, for example. I do suggest that you go follow him and read that in its entirety. There's a lot of good reason there why you're probably not bullish enough if you are feeling down right now. As Jeff Safart says over here from Bloomberg Analyst, I've read this to you guys before, but the TLDR of this is that basically he believes that net 3 to 4 billion in Ethereum ETFs doesn't come in. That is after the grayscale sell-off. So net 3 to 4 billion by the end of the year. Now that kind of lines up really well with this thing from Cointelegraph, which has also interviewed Tom Dunleavy, who we talked about before, where he says there could be $10 billion in ETH ETF inflows, which if you think that Grayscale might unload half of their bag, then it comes in pretty good with what Jeff Safart is saying as well. So those two analysts line up pretty much 3 to 5 billion in net inflows by the end of the year. And because there's less liquidity in Ethereum than there is Bitcoin, it could reflect as a lot higher and more aggressive price increase with this coming in because it's just a smaller market cap than Bitcoin. So it takes less money to pump it harder. And as Nate Garachi says over here, if you want to invest in the growth of tokenization, Ethereum is the picks and shovel play. It underpins all of it. And remember, in the age of the gold mining days, who made the most money? It wasn't the gold miners themselves. It was the picks and shovels manufacturers and sellers who were actually selling the tools to take advantage of the gold rush. Those are the guys who made a killing. The infrastructure, I've always been very bullish on infrastructure plays. And ETH is infrastructure, Solana is infrastructure, Link is infrastructure. And as we move into the other evolving narrative like RWA or real world assets, Ondo, which I told you about on the day that it launched, is absolutely crushing it. If we come over here and we look at this chart, it had a really nice pullback, which you don't get them very often right now because the market is hurting so bad. It's not a bad price to consider going and looking at something like Ondo. And what really surprised me today when I looked at my research was just how fast the TVL was growing in Ondo. I'm an early investor in Securitize. I invest in Securitize probably like 7 years ago, something like that. The market cap, not TVL, sorry, market cap, Ondo is catching up to Securitize extremely fast. It's really surprising to see that, but nice to know that that I let you guys know about it quite early. When we talk about strength right here, and if we're mentioning Ethereum, surprisingly, yet we did call it quite early, this PayPay is doing really, really well. You know, on that day, I called a few different Chinese coins from that China narrative. Then we'll see if that ever comes back. It's quite strong. One of them that you guys know about, the Michi-san, I'm still a supporter of that community. It has a strong community takeover, and I think that if the Chinese narrative does come back, it will pump as well, as it kind of fits the meme, the Ethereum, the cat, the China narrative. But I think the China narrative has to come back for that to happen. So in that day that I called those Chinese coins, the one that I did call of those that did extremely well is this PayPay. And it seems like it's going to have some staying power. I don't know for sure, but I haven't sold any of my tokens yet, and I'm excited to see where this goes. And that's how you play this game, right? If you can win 1 out of 4 in this game, you're going to be doing really well. Remember, traditional VCs try to get 1 out of 10 right, and that 1 that goes to the moon makes up and then some for all the losses of those other 9. So just keep that in mind when you think about, you know, odds of playing this game. If you're just always bouncing around everything like that, and you don't try to make smart plays, then you might miss that 1 out of 10. But I typically have better odds than 1 in 10. That's for sure. You can see that when I talked about PayPay, it was only 56 million. Today it is 134 million. So we're almost at 3x now. Not quite yet, but working on it. And Marty Party makes a comparison over here between Ethereum and Solana. And we had this 95% drawdown in 2020 from 2021 in Solana. And that also happened before in 2017, well, from the ETH 2017 run, and then look what happened afterwards. So are we going to see the same thing from Solana? Probably, absolutely. And Marty Party says over here, if that exact same thing happens, that same appreciation that Ethereum saw of 2,000%, 666 days after its drawdown, well, guess what? We're 619 days from the drawdown in Solana. So potentially just about 40 more days if we see the same kind of thing happen. And he puts Solana at $2,800. That would be extremely nice, wouldn't it? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. If you guys haven't watched my video on Solana in my ecosystem videos, make sure that you do that in the playlist. I will put it here or here, wherever on the screen, probably at the end of this video. And I do have a playlist on my channel of ecosystem plays. I suggest that you guys go watch all of those as well. This is very bullish. So Solana stablecoins flipped base again. And what happens when that happens? Well, you can see that Gumshoe says, insider news for Solana, Sol pumped hard the last 3 times. We had a sudden increase in stablecoins. The last time this happened, we had Sol ETF application hours later. Sol stablecoin market cap just saw a 10% increase driven by USDC. Is this the 4th time? Could be. Now let's take a look at these charts, right? And it's something I want to show you. Remember, we talked about some other projects earlier in the year, and they've had significant drawdowns since then. Big surprise. What else hasn't had a big drawdown? But you can see when Near had an 80% drawdown over here, what happened? Boom, off the charts, right? And you can see that AVAX had an 84% drawdown as well. Boom, off the charts. So could that potentially happen for TIA, right? Celestia. I mean, it was all the talk for so long, and now it's an 80% drawdown. Do we think it's going to follow the same pattern? I kind of feel like it might. And also remember, the paralyzed EVM that should be launching, say, 2.0 soon, which is an EVM, paralyzed, ultra fast. We still don't really have that yet, right? We have 2 blockchains, layer 1's kind of promising super fast, super cheap EVM, that's Say. And then when Phantom rebrands into Sonic and launches Sonic mainnet, those 2 should take off pretty well. Something that really I've been looking at for a long time and want an opportunity to get into it is this Ready GG. I just wanted to bring it up because if you've heard a lot about it, has a crazy cap table. You can see investors are really great, like Delphi Digital, Neo Tokyo, Alex Becker, Hashed, Bitcraft, Tribe, IOSG, Spartan, Fundamental Labs. So a lot of really great investors. I don't know a tremendous amount about it, but I do know that people I trust a lot are extremely excited about it and think it's going to be fantastic. And if you are interested in doing that and you don't live in the United States or Canada, you can go participate right now on the sale that they have on CoinList. So go check that out if you're eligible to do that. If you're interested in participating, just want to let you know it's the former boss of Sony who's actually running, former PlayStation boss Sean Lydon joins NFT gaming firm Ready GG. Very, very cool, guys. That's going to wrap it up today. I will catch you on the next one. Take care and watch this video.